Hello everyone, this is Statler,
And I'm Waldorf.
and we're here to talk about arcane items in the Ninth Age from the basic rule book.
Yep.
We're going to start with the Backlash Scroll, 55 points, so only a Lord can take him. One use only. Instead of making the spell roll, you may use the scroll after the spell effects have been resolved in the past attribute. And then the casting player has to roll in the miscast table. It doesn't affect bound items or spells cast with one die
Or with overwhelming.
or with overwhelming. I think this is a solid item, but it is a bit pricey.
It's a bit pricey, and it takes your one arcane item that you can take. You know, your mage can only have one arcane item. That means your Lord level mage doesn't have the Book of Arcane Power.
Correct.
You know. Anyway, I like this in the certain aspect of the way the new miscast table works. If the guy rolls a 2 to 4 and he uses 5 dice, he's going away. If he knows you're sitting on this thing, he may not throw 5 dice ever in a game.
Well, unless he's getting overwhelming power, then he
Yeah.
overrodes it.
But
If the overwhelming power wasn't there, maybe.
it's too much. Anyway. I'll never use it,
No.
or I don't see myself ever using this.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a bit. I think it's on the surface it seems scary, but even a miscast, depending on what you roll.
yeah, if he doesn't roll bad, then he's fine.
Yeah, if it was 1d6, it'd be really scary.
Yeah.
So
Correct. Now,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this for 55 points. Right?
Yeah. Book of Arcane Power, 50 points for a Lord and 35 points for a hero. The bear receives +1 casting modifier to casting and dispelling rolls. I love this item. I think it's if you have mages, it's an auto take as far as I'm concerned.
If you have 2 mages,
Yes.
I agree.
think whatever you do with mages, it's an auto take. If you decide you want to go with a high level guy and you want to go to Super Plus, you take this.
I still think you keep the first arcane slot's going to go to a
The
dispel
spell
scroll.
scroll's your temptation.
So I think you
But
need
definitely have 2 level 2s if you're playing that game.
Yep.
This is an auto take.
to. Yeah, I love this.
I love
Good
this
item. The next one is Essence of a Free Mind. 40 points for a Lord, 30 for a hero. The wizard may select up to 2 paths on their army list instead of 1. Select which of the 2 paths when generating your spells. This is a item that was put in for tournaments.
Yes.
Simple. I mean, or I guess the rare people that show up with closed lists in a pickup game, even with their magic
Yeah, it's
lore written down, which is usually rare, is fairly rare. But this is it just lets you choose between 2 paths when you go into it. Once you see what your opponent is. Again, there's too many. Your first mage is going to have the spell scroll. Your second mage is going to have the arcane power.
Yep.
Unless you're running a 3 mage list, you're probably not going to see this.
And you're probably not going to see it still.
Yeah, and you're probably still not going to see
It's
it.
okay. If you could pick from any of the battle magic lores,
If you could choose yes.
from, then I could see you taking it
Right.
to supplement your army. But a lot of armies have limited lores as it is.
Right.
I mean, if you're playing playing elves, you have other options that are better. Maybe if you're playing EOS,
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, it's.
So I don't think you're going to see this much.
I don't think so. The spell scroll is same as it was before, a little more expensive, 35 points. 1 use only, and you dispel a spell automatically.
Yeah.
Same as it always was.
Still an auto include.
It's pretty much an auto include.
Yeah, unless you don't have a mage, then you take that other item, the
take the
common
other-
item that
exactly.
lets you do it. Right.
Exactly.
The next one is the Tome of Arcane Lore.
Although I have to say that a number of games I've taken the Book of Arcane Power above the spell scroll.
Really?
Yeah.
I just find that one time where you. Anyway.
Right, just to take the
can't-
chance.
you can't
I think
have
it depends.
something.
Yeah, if you got some MR in your army or you got some ward saves, you can take a few chances. I think.
The Tome of Arcane Lore for 25 for a Lord, 15 for a hero. The bearer generates 1 additional spell. Okay. I don't think you'll see this much. Personally, I don't think you'll see it because you're paying 20 for an additional level on your mage, 25 maybe.
Right.
So anyway,
as opposed to 15.
Yeah, but, I mean, you get the additional spell cheaper, but you're losing out on one of the other arcane items that you're going to want.
That's a real problem. Yeah.
Unless, again, if you're at 3 mages, you might consider it. But
Yeah.
anyway, not a fan.
Yeah. The grounding rod, or also known as the groundhog rod.
Hmm.
25 for a lord and 15 for a hero. This one I don't quite fully get the split in points, but I guess it's a more costly model. One use only. The
Yeah.
bearer can choose to use this item to re-roll in the miscast table. The old earthing rod, I took it a number of times because I was very famous for blowing up my wizard on turn 1 with a handful of, just a couple of dice.
Or on turn 6, rolling 2 dice just to get rid of a chaff unit.
Oh, yeah, I don't recall that ever happening. You mean those 2 casts in a row? And
Yes.
Yeah. So, but it's something that I guess you can take if you're trying to protect your high-level wizard.
I'm not a big fan.
But it's competing with so much stuff again.
Yeah, it's the competition for that
Yeah.
slot, that one arcane slot is just too big for
Yeah.
me. The next one is the Binding Scroll for 20 points. One use only.
Scepter of Power.
Did I skip the Scepter of Power? I
Yes.
did. Sorry, the Scepter of Power for 20 points for
Why
a
are
Lord.
you hating on the Scepter of Power?
I'm not a big fan, apparently.
Clearly you didn't like it. You couldn't even see it. You hated it so much.
Yeah, actually, now I'm looking. Anyway, Scepter of Power is 20 points for a Lord, 15 for a hero. One use only. Can re-roll a single power dice during a casting roll.
It's cop.
Yeah, okay, that's why I'm disrespecting
Yeah,
it.
didn't need to split in points either.
Not a big fan. 5 points more for a Lord. Who cares?
Yep.
I guess you could take it and try to protect your Lord from miscasting. Re-roll that second 6.
I suppose.
I
yes.
suppose. I'm just looking for use of this. That's the only one I see.
Yes.
I'm
Well, if you really want a spell to go off and you just missed it.
yeah, and like we talked about before,
It's competing. I don't think it's bad for 15 points on a regular guy. It's just
not only either, but
just everything's competition problem.
yeah. There's too many other things in the arcane items that are better.
So and now I'm going to go on the item you tried to bogart from me, the
Yeah,
Binding
yeah.
Scroll, for 20 points, one use only again. Instead of making it a spell roll, you may use the scroll. The wizard casting the spell cannot cast the same spell during the next game turn.
I've seen this used. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I think it's okay situationally if you're running against certain opponents that have key spells,
Right.
and at certain points in the game where you just cannot let that spell get off. So,
yeah, the
of
wizard's
course,
stubborn spell or regen spell
of course,
or whatever. But
they would have had to have cast it in the turn
Yeah.
before, also.
yeah,
So there's a lot of situations there, but yeah, I'm not a big
fan of this one.
Not for 20 points.
The Shielding Scroll for 15, one use only. Instead of making it a spell roll, you may use the scroll. All models affected by the spell have a 4-up ward save against the spell. If you had additional slots for arcane items, I would use this a ton. But when I'm running 2 mages, I've got the spell scroll and the power.
Yeah, if I've got a third mage, it's probably getting this item.
It's a nice item if you have the slot to
Or
carry.
doing some of our group games where we want to let one person take a dispel scroll.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm taking this item. I do like it. It will almost always, particularly if you're playing with kind of a lead army, it's going to pay for itself just by saving one guy.
Yeah.
And it's going to do probably more than that when you use it.
Yeah. It's a nice item.
Yeah.
But again, it's a nice item. It's decently priced. It's just there's only so many arcane items you can get into a list.
Yep.
So
One with stability, 15 points. One use only again. The bearer may add a d6 modifier to one of its dispel rolls. Note this is not a dispel dice. And ignore the not enough power rule. This is an exception to the magic modifiers rule.
oh, the one that limits the total number of
Right.
pluses you can get.
Right.
Again, it's a decently priced item to stop a one spell from going through, I guess, but it's the same thing we've been talking about. It's your arcane slots are so limited.
Yeah, that's the one thing I think they need to fix. There's a lot of arcane choices, but you just don't have that many wizards, and some are just too important, whereas other ones are just too situational or too nice to have. It might actually be nice if they let you take multiple, since only mages can take arcane items.
Right.
if they actually changed the rule to allow mages to take multiple arcane items, up to
Correct.
their point limit.
Up to their point limit.
Even if some of them are a little more expensive, so that that kind of balances them out a little bit.
Well, I mean, you take a Dispel Scroll for 35, now you're stuck with something at the cheaper price.
Right.
But there's a couple of decent cheap price ones you could add onto it.
And they're not game breaking things.
Correct.
So you're not going to. There's no huge combos here you have to worry about.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, and there's a lot of one use only, and those are
one use only on a thing where you can only get that unless it's the Dispel Scroll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway.
It's a guaranteed thing. So yeah, this is one thing. I mean, 8th had the same kind of challenge. There were just too many arcane items for the
Right.
and you tend to see more mages in 8th just because you could do like the Light Council
thing,
and things of that nature. I don't think you're going to see that because the magic is not as powerful. It's usually not going to destroy your opponent like it could in 8th. So yeah, hopefully they'll do something here.
Yeah, but all right.
But the core items are fantastic. The other ones, some of them are okay, but situational.
Again, I don't think there's, looking through this list, there's not a lot of bad items in here. It's just trying to just.
It's finding the space for
finding
them all.
space.
Yeah, they're not equal.
Right.
Which is, no matter how hard you try, I know the 9th Age guys have worked very hard to make everything balanced and give you choices, but in reality, I just don't think that's possible.
I agree.
All
All right.
right, that wraps up the arcane items.
All right.